My goal is to complete 6 mini projects over the next 7 days. This year, I have been on a mission to use up the yarn that I have in my stash. It's been going well, but I think I can do better. In January of this year, 2025, I decided that I needed to get through the yarn that I had in my stash and try and reduce the amount of yarn that I have been buying. I sorted it by weight and then actually weighed all of the yarn, and it came in at 3.5 kilograms, which admittedly is not very much to start with. When I did the weigh-in at the 6-month mark, I weighed in, and despite making lots of different projects, I had used just under 1.5 kilograms of yarn, but I really felt like I had used more than that. And that's really pushed me to want to try and use up more by the end of this year. So to re-motivate myself, I'm setting myself a little challenge. I'm gonna take on a mini stash busting project. My goal is to complete 6 mini projects over the next 7 days. Yeah, we're just gonna see how it pans out. So obviously, even if they're mini projects, doing 6 projects in 7 days feels like quite a lot. But what is gonna help me is that as I'm recording, it's a long weekend here in Canada. I'm recording this on the Saturday, so I'll also have Monday off as it's a stat day. And for me, I also have the Tuesday off. So I have 4 full days in order to do something. And then I will be working for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I think I'll save the smallest of the projects for those days. The reason I've gone for 6 projects in 7 days is to give myself a bit of wiggle room. If I don't complete a full project on one day, I have that extra day spare to do finishing up of any projects. I don't know, I'm trying to not make this a competition for myself, this whole like use up your stash thing. But at the same time, these are lots of little projects I really like the look of, so why not set myself a challenge and get through my yarn in the process? The one thing that I still actually haven't done yet is, though I have selected my patterns, I do actually need to check in my yarn tub and see that I have the right yarn for it or what I could use instead. And whilst I am here saying, oh, I've got 4 full days to do some of this, me and my partner are planning to do some day trips across this long weekend. So I don't really have all the hours of the day. So I am adding kind of an extra layer to this challenge, I suppose. We'll see how it pans out. I will be documenting it all, so you get to come on the journey with me and trace the ups and downs of this project. But it's just for fun. I'm hoping I get them all done. If I don't, it doesn't matter. I'll just have a bunch of whips to finish over the following week, maybe. So I'll talk you through the patterns that I have decided to do. One is to make 2 more of these placemats by Cream of the Crop Crochet. This is a free pattern that I found on Pinterest. I made 3 of these tablecloths when we moved into this apartment about 18 months ago. For some reason, I never got around to making a 4th one, which is how many I wanted to make in the first place. And then I put the 3 of them that I had in the wash, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe. And the 3rd one, I guess I didn't weave in my ends as per. The 3rd one unraveled. I took it out of the wash and it had almost completely unraveled, and the yarn was in just a total tangle, as you can imagine. It was wrapped around everything. Probably should have just hand washed them. But that means that I am now 2 less than what I wanted. I only have 2. So I think project number 1, and I don't recall these taking me very long, project number 1 is going to be making 2 more of these. I'm pretty sure I have enough yarn left to make 2 more. The second pattern is the Urla Bandana by Seda Secan. This is a pattern that I found when I was making the like travel friendly projects for leftover yarn video. I got really into bandanas in that episode. I hadn't really thought about them too much, and then I kept seeing all these bandana patterns as I was researching, and I became obsessed. This is a knitted one. And then I really liked the washcloths by Pearl Soho. That's another good leftover yarn project. It's kind of like a geometric colour blocking washcloth. They're made with sport weight cotton yarn. That is the one that I'm not totally sure I'd have the right style of yarn for, but I'm gonna just see what I can do in my stash because I really like the look of them, and washcloths are always handy. I'm then gonna make a Journey cowl, which is a pattern designed by me, released a few years ago, part of the Journey collection, which is a hat, the cowl and socks. I have lost my original cowl that I knit when designing this project. I think I took it back to the UK. I think I've left it there. So I want to make another one, and I have the same yarn that I used for that in a different colourway. So I want to make that. That's a really quick, easy project. And then the Skinny Picot headband by the Turtle Trunk. It's just a thin, really cute kind of dotted crochet headband. I think it'll be a really lovely accessory when I have my hair tied up, very summery. That's made with the worsted weight cotton yarn, which I definitely know I have in my stash. And then finally, I'm gonna make 3 face scrubbies. I haven't got a particular pattern in mind for that yet, but I know that there's loads available online. And again, they'll be with a cotton yarn, and I do have a fair bit of like worsted weight, at least cotton in my stash. And these will be good projects to get through them. So, placemats, a bandana, scrubbies, washcloth, a cowl, and a headband. 6 pretty good projects, I think. So it is nearly 3 p.m. on what is supposed to be day 1 as I'm recording this, so I better get started with this project. Okay, so I finished that at 3 p.m. I actually then ended up faffing about for a bit. I recorded some video for social media. We went and did a food shop. And now it's gone 6 p.m. and I'm only just getting around to project number 1. So this is not a great start, but that's fine, we push on. Because it is now late in the day, I've picked one of the smaller patterns. So I have just purchased the Skinny Picot Headband by Turtle Trunk. It's a crochet pattern. And the pattern uses Lion Brand Colour Theory yarn, which is an acrylic worsted weight yarn. But I'm going to be using a cotton worsted weight yarn. It is Loops and Threads Classic Cotton from Michael's. It's really cheap, it's like a few dollars for this. I had purchased this for my Salt Spring bags when I designed those last year, and I still have like 2 full skeins of this plus some left over. And I just did a gauge swatch to check my gauge, and so the gauge is only 2 inches by 2 inches, and I have got the 2 inches across, but it's about almost 3 inches high, so it might be a wider headband than the pattern is designed for, but I don't really mind that. I might, so the pattern uses a 5.5mm crochet hook. I already have gone down 1 needle size to 5.25mm because I couldn't find my 5.5mm one. But I am quite a loose crocheter generally, and I think I can get away with sizing down again to a 5mm hook, and it wouldn't impact the fabric. It's kind of loose, you can see. And I think that will make it slightly narrower and maybe a bit tighter too, like a bit denser fabric like the actual designed sample looks. Yeah, I obviously haven't washed this to try it, but when it comes to this headband, I'm not really too worried if it's not going to be the exact gauge, because ultimately I'm probably not going to wash and block this when I finish. I'd probably just wear it as is and then wash it eventually. So it doesn't matter too much if I'm not totally on. But as I say, the like 6 stitches does equate to 2 inches, like the gauge in the pattern. I'm just going to have a slightly like wider headband. It might not be as skinny as the pattern is called. So anyway, I'm going to size down a needle, and then I'm just going to get on with it, and hopefully I get to finish this before I go to bed. Oh, and I should say I am making the adult size large. I measured my head just to be sure. I know I've got a big head, and yes, I was just in the measurements for the largest size for adult head. So that's the size that I'm going to be following. Good morning. So last night I did in fact finish the Skinny Picot Headband by Turtle Trunk Crochet. Despite the late start of starting this project, as you saw, we even popped down to a local arts festival that's happening near to us this weekend. I did a bit of crochet there, and then I continued when I got back home. But actually once I got started, it really didn't take long to finish. I reckon it's like an hour max project. Overall, I'm happy with this pattern. It was super easy to make. I did wonder if my head is still slightly larger and it's stretching this headband a bit, but maybe it's okay. And my foundation, you'd have to do like a foundation half double crochet chain as your start, as row 1. And I think mine is a little loose there, so I think that impacts the final look a bit. But I think it's very cute. The pattern itself was really easy, really well written. It even had like photo and clear like written instructions for the different stitches used in the pattern. And it was my first time following a pattern from Turtle Trunk Crochet, but based on that experience, I really recommend checking out their patterns and giving them a go. Okay, but now we are on to day 2. So in general, what's in store for today is we are planning a trip to the city of Richmond, which, despite having lived in Vancouver for nearly 7 years, we have never been to other than going to the airport, which is based there. So we don't have a massive itinerary for the day. I have seen that there's a dumpling trail around Richmond, so you can go to different restaurants and try their dumplings. Richmond is a very popular and well-known area for its dim sum, so we'll be checking that out, but otherwise I think we're just going to see what happens. But that does mean that I am out for most of the day today. So when it came to picking what project I wanted to be working on today, I knew because we're going to be out and about for most of the day, I wanted something that was going to be easy for me to do and be able to pick up and put down without much fuss. So the pattern that I have picked is the Journey Cowl. And the reason that I'm picking that as the kind of easy project is 1, because I designed it, so I know the pattern, but 2, it has been intentionally designed to be something that's easy to knit while on your travels. It's very easy to remember, like stitch, pattern, repeat. It's only 1 skein of yarn, it's not too bulky, so I know that I can take that on about and it'll be easy to follow along. Whether I get it finished by the end of the day is a whole other issue, but I'm gonna cast it on before we leave and then pick up and put it down whenever I can throughout the day. So the yarn that I am going to be using for this is the Patagonia Organic Merino wool. It's 100% wool. It's actually the same yarn that I used when I designed the pattern, it's just in a different colour. I used like a navy blue or indigo colour before, and this one is a beige colour. Does it have a colour? It's colour Sand 118. So first of all, I need to wind this up. I'll do that now, and then I'll get started on project number 2. So it is 5 p.m. on day 3, and as you can see, I'm still working on day 2's project. So I didn't get around to filming when I got home last night from doing our dumpling trail, which was great fun. I was just so exhausted and full. I didn't pick up the camera again. I did do some more knitting on this, but obviously during the day I barely got a thing done. And then by the time I went to bed last night, I had done about 4 inches of this, and the total length is 9 inches, so I was just under halfway then. So I have continued to knit this today. Not been too busy today, met some friends this morning to walk their dogs, then went for a walk. So I've been working on it a bit. I'm now at 7 inches, so I still have 2 inches to go. So I have a feeling this might be the only thing I do today. I don't know why I felt so confident in my abilities when I started this project that I'd be able to do something like this whilst also being out all day. I think I thought because it's an easy knit that means I will make it really quickly, but I'm not that quick, I guess. So that means for the next 3 days I'm gonna have to make, if I want to see my challenge through, 4 things. So I may review my projects I've picked. You know, maybe I should have just picked 6 headbands because I could do that really quickly. I might review and see what I've got because I have tomorrow off all day with no major plans, so I can do a few bits then. But then the rest of the 2 other days I will be working all day. So maybe I'll see how I get on tomorrow and then select my last 2 wisely. But yeah, this is where I'm at and will probably see me through to the end of today. Welcome to day 4 of my mini stash busting mission. I know you didn't see a lot of me yesterday. I just didn't film much yesterday. I was out and about a little bit and then I was just knitting, so it didn't feel too exciting. But I did finish the journey cowl last night. Here it is. So as I mentioned, this is a pattern designed by me. It's just a simple cowl. It's really easy, meditative stitches. I knit it with Patagonia organic merino wool from Juniper Moon Farms. And this is a yarn that I have used quite a lot. I made my original journey cowl and journey hat using this yarn. I also knit the DRK Everyday Sweater by Andrew Mowry with it. It's a really soft yarn, but it's also quite affordable. It goes a long way. So for example, just knitting this cowl, I weighed my yarn that I have left from that project. I still have 67 grams of yarn left from an 100 gram skein that I started with. So this cowl really doesn't take a lot. I might even be able to knit the matching hat to go with this. But yeah, it's lovely soft yarn. And this pattern, I know it looks like pearl stitching, but actually you knit it inside out, so you're knitting stitches and slipping or purling this stitch, so it's super easy. Highly recommend if you're looking for just something simple. It's a great gift knit because it doesn't take long, doesn't use up a lot of yarn, so it's perfect if you have some sport weight yarn left, or you could probably get away with a DK weight depending on how big or small you want it. Make some gifts, use up that yarn. It's a great project. So now, day 4. We're now at midday, and this morning I have cast on the Urla bandana by Sarah Sikan. It's a knitted bandana, and I have got this far. It's a free pattern, and it calls for worsted weight cotton yarn, which I had in my stash. I have no idea what this yarn is. There's no ball band on it. So I don't know, I think it's worsted. It may be just slightly a light worsted perhaps, and I didn't do a gauge swatch just because you started from the bottom and you're working out like in a triangle, traditional like triangle shape. So I figured if I get to the end of the pattern and it doesn't fit because it's too small, which for some reason is what I'm anticipating it being over it being too big, just because, as said previously, of my head size. I just figured I can do more increased rows and get it to the size I need. So I didn't gauge swatch, I've just cast on and got going, and once you kind of memorize the row repeats, it's very easy to set up. You're just kind of increasing and creating these like eyelets here. So very simple pattern. Again, it's very easy to memorize. Am I gonna get this done today? I like to think so. In the pattern, it says to keep going until you're 10 inches in length, and then you do the I-cord edging, which will also become the ties. And I just measured this before recording and I'm at 6 inches. So it's possible that I can do the next 4 inches and hope that it fits at that size and be done. And if I do get that far, then my plan is to start working on one of the table mats that I mentioned, because really the table mats is what I wanted or have been meaning to make for, like I say, we moved into this apartment 18 months ago and I made the three placemats quite quickly after we moved in. Never made the fourth one. Then the third one fell apart in the wash last year. So now I need to make another two. And I've been meaning to do that forever, so I feel like this is the week when I set this project. I had in mind this is when I have the push to do these table mats. So I think if I have time this evening, if I finish this afternoon, I'll start on that this evening. However, even though I do have a whole day off today, I don't think I can just sit and knit this all day, because I do have some other work to do for Wander and Create that is not the actual physical crafting. So because of the building work, I think I'm going to have some lunch and take myself to the local library or a cafe and do the more administrative work, and then I'll come back and we'll see where we're at later this evening. So still on day 4. Sorry, the lighting is bad. It has gone dark. It's actually started raining, which it hasn't done for a few weeks here in Vancouver, which is rare to have no rain. But it now feels like fall when we're only in August. I'm on day 4. I have not finished the Urla headband. I'm now 8 inches into it and the finished length is 10 inches. But what I realised is that because I'm going to be at work in the office for the rest of the week, I felt like that one is a much easier pattern to just take out and about with me. It's very easy stitch, pattern, repeat to remember, as I was saying. So I think I can take that and I can do it on my commute, I can do it on my lunch break, and that just felt easier than the table mats. So I've just picked up and started doing a table mat, like a placemat. Yeah. Come on. Okay. And it's a similar pattern to the one I made before. I couldn't find the one that I made before. I think I just found a free pattern on Pinterest and rolled with it at the time and didn't save it. So I'm doing one that's similar, but actually that's fine because I actually don't have any more of that yarn that I thought I did. I really was convinced I did, so I wonder if I gave it away mistakenly at some point in a yarn swap. But anyway, I have this other yarn in my stash that is the same but a slightly different colour. It's more of a green colour. I think this lighting is so bad it's not going to pick that up. So it's fine that the pattern is slightly different because it's also going to be a slightly different colour. I'm hoping that I'm going to like the look of the slightly two different colours together, and because they're going to be slightly different patterns, hopefully that makes the whole thing work. But here we are, and end of day 4. I've got this evening left. I'm semi-confident I could get this done. I do find that I'm much quicker with crochet than I am with knitting. If I can get one of these done, and then maybe tomorrow I can finish the headband, I'd still have Thursday and Friday to maybe do another placemat and my final project. But even if I just get that 5th project done, I'll have at least done one table mat. That's where I'm at. I'm sort of now like, what was I thinking? Thinking that this was going to be something that I could do in 6 days while doing a whole bunch of other things, but I think I'll be happy at the end of it to have like 6 new projects done and some more of my yarn stash used. So anyway, time to just crack on with this. Okay, so here we are at day 6. I didn't record anything really at all yesterday on day 5, apart from the odd little clip of me working on stuff. I just got busy and, to be honest, didn't feel like getting the camera out. I felt like my hair was messy and I'd been tired from my day at work after my 4 days off. Real hardship, I know. So I didn't film, but I did do stuff. So I finished the bandana, the Urla bandana by Sikan. I haven't weaved in my ends, but yeah, I really enjoyed making this project. As I think I said before, it's just like a fun meditative stitch pattern once you memorized it. I kind of enjoyed just taking that to work and do on my commute and my lunch break. Highly recommend, and I used what I think is worsted weight cotton yarn. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to wearing that in the summer. And then I started work on my table placemats. So I did one placemat and I knit this, I crocheted this with random yarn I had in my stash. I think it might be like a bamboo and cotton if I remember rightly. I think I bought it from Hobbycraft in the UK, like I guess the equivalent of a Michaels in the UK. I followed a pattern I found on Pinterest, which I can't remember the name of right now, but I'll put it here and it'll be listed in the description below as well. But I'm happy with how it turned out. It's slightly different, as I said, to the other 2 placemats I've got, slightly different pattern, but I like it. So then I yesterday finished the bandana, started working on the second placemat, and because I liked this one, but I thought maybe I used a 5mm crochet hook, which is what the pattern suggested, but I didn't gauge watch, of course, because I am kind of just throwing these together. And although I think it looks fine, I think maybe it's a little loose, and I am a bit of a loose crocheter. So I decided for the second one, I'm going to try it out by sizing down a hook size. So I did a 4.5mm crochet hook, which I think I am ultimately happier with the finished look of it. It's obviously a bit smaller, which is kind of fine. This is my second one. I don't know how well the stitches are showing up on the screen, but you might be able to see the difference between the 2. These are impossible to display. Can you see a difference? I don't know. So anyway, I was happy with that, and then I thought maybe at the end of this I can go back and make the first one again. But guess what? I ran out of yarn. I'm on the final round. This between my fingers at the top here is how much I had left to go. So that's slightly devastating. You almost can't notice it unless you look hard. Maybe if I just use it when we have more than me and James round, other people wouldn't notice it. Maybe if I eventually go back and remake this one again in the smaller hook size, I might have enough yarn left to finish that, but I'm not sure, because it's like the final round you're doing shell stitch, which is like 5 double crochets into each like chain space, so that's quite yarn heavy, like eats a lot of yarn. So I don't know, I'm not too disappointed, because again, this is just a fun exercise. Would it be nice to have 2 placemats finished? Yes, it would. But at least I know the pattern, and it was a super easy and quick thing to make. I would have finished this last night, and I only started it in the evening as well. I'd say maybe 2 hours worth of crochet for me to finish that. So yeah, I recommend it, and it was a free pattern as well. So yeah, so that was, I guess I'm now on 4 projects, but technically I have made 5 things. So I've made the cowl, the headband, the bandana, the placemats. So I think the next project that I'm going to pick from the list I started with are the face scrubbies. So I just need to dive into my yarn storage tub / coffee table and take a look for some yarn. And I think I'm going to need a cotton yarn. So I could use this cotton yarn that I had for my headband. It's a worsted weight cotton. I think that's probably pretty good for the scrubby. I don't know, I think I've got some white cotton yarn in here somewhere. I know I sorted this all at the beginning of the year and it stayed pretty well together. I just know I had a bit of a miscellaneous bag where I didn't really separate by weight, but I just put stuff together that I wasn't sure of. But face scrubbies would be useful. Oh yeah, I have this. I had like a cone of cotton yarn from years ago when I made a crochet top for my sister-in-law. That's gonna get me at least one scrubby, maybe two. They're only small, right? So maybe I can do, I'm gonna try and make 3, I think, because they are so small. I'm assuming, maybe she says with confidence, that they're gonna be easy to make and quick to make. So I'm gonna aim to make 3 this evening. So maybe I'll just do one of each of these and then a second one in this, because I have a bunch more. I still have a whole other ball of this, as well as some bits of leftovers bound up that I haven't used, so maybe I should even make all 3 to use them up, but who doesn't need a face scrubby? So yeah, that's my plan for tonight, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do for day 7, because the other thing I had on my list was washcloths, but at this point, and knowing how it's gone for me this week so far, I think knitted washcloths, as much as I love the look of them, they're not for this mission. I'm not gonna have time tomorrow to knit a washcloth that's like a kind of dish towel size, which is what I had kind of wanted to do, and I'm not completely convinced that I have the yarn. I think this would be too thick. I'd rather do it in a thinner, like a DK weight yarn for some reason. That's how I'm imagining it in my head. So we'll give that a miss, and we're gonna have a rethink. I wish I was doing this in real time so you could give me ideas, but either way, share what you would do with your stash busting if you were to do something like this. Share your project ideas in the comments, because that might give me inspiration in the future. But for now, I'm gonna have a think, and I will check back in with you either later or tomorrow to see how I'm getting on. One scrubby done. Didn't take too long, maybe 45 minutes. Quite a large scrubby, but that's all right. Easy pattern to follow. Just got 2 rounds of puff stitches and single crochets in between the rounds. I think I've definitely got plenty of time to make a couple more this evening. Okay, so in order for me to be fully transparent with you, as I'm recording this, it is Sunday, so technically day 9, if I was going to be doing a 9-day challenge, but I was doing 7. So I think I last checked in with you on Thursday, which was day 6 of my mini stash busting project. I got to day 7, and it's not that I didn't do stuff on day 7, I'll talk about that in just a sec, but I just didn't feel like filming. That was a lesson learned from me, is that I can't be on camera every day of the week. It was the end of the week, it'd been busy at work. I just wanted to kind of chill on Friday, and by the time I got home, settle down for the evening. it just didn't feel like putting the camera out, to be honest, but I did do some work. And then I was out all day on a hike yesterday, got home exhausted, didn't do any knitting or crochet yesterday. So I'll talk to you about my day 7 project. So initially, the thing I had left from my original list was the washcloths by Pearl Soho, knitted washcloths, and they use a sport weight cotton yarn. And I was looking through my stash and I kind of realised I didn't have the right yarn for it. So then on Friday morning, before I went to work, I was scrolling through Ravelry, looking at the patterns I've already found in previous roundup videos and just looking on Pinterest for some inspiration. And I just kind of landed on, I've got to make something that I want out of this. I don't want to make something just for the sake of making it. I want all of these things to be something that's either useful or that I will use, and all of the projects that I had done to date in this mission were that. And if the washcloth wasn't going to be happening, what did I actually want? And, you know, knowing the yarn that I had in my stash, kind of trying to match both of those together. And I ended up landing on a little scarf, which I know everyone is making a little scarf these days. I didn't want to make the Sophie scarf because I feel like that is very well done. I've already made this Sophie hood this year and I did enjoy that, but I thought I would try a different scarf. I think there's something that I'm starting to embrace this year. When the scarf trend came out, I thought that's not really me, but I have made a little project this year, the what's the Casapinka shawl that I made? The name escapes me now. Oh, woven shawl. So that's a shawl, not a scarf, but I really liked that and I thought, well, maybe I could be into the scarf scene. And so I was browsing through Ravelry at like DK weight, because that's yarn I had that I thought could get me a project. And I found a pattern by Stephen West. And I knew as I was landing on this scarf idea that there was no way that I was going to finish a project like that in one day, even if they are small, skinny scarves. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was like, do you know what? It's my mission. And if I want to make something that I'll enjoy and use up my stash, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I'll just do as much as I can today. So as I was browsing through all the scarf patterns, of which there are many, of course, they're very popular, I landed on the Dustland skinny scarf by Stephen West, and I picked that one because I've never knit a pattern by Stephen West. I know he's a very popular designer and I like his work that I see. So I thought I'd try one of his patterns. So I purchased the Dustland skinny scarf pattern and I started working on it on Friday morning on my way to work. I cast on and then I did a bit more on my lunch break and then I did lots more in the evening, and so you have seen bits of that from my Friday of me doing that, but I didn't actually like talk to the camera. So, and I haven't done any knitting since then. I stopped on the Friday night, stopped where I got to, and I didn't do anything yesterday. So what I'm showing you now is what I did in my week-long project on the Friday. But this is where I got to. I got to the halfway point, which I was really surprised about. So now from here on out, I will start my decrease for the other side. Oh, sorry, I've got some shadowing of the camera. Let me come a bit closer so you can see. It's a really fun, addictive pattern because the stitch pattern changes every few rows. So I like that. It's not necessarily one that's going to be easy to take out and about with you, because you're going to have to keep checking the pattern to see when the changes are. But the pattern repeats for each section are very memorable. But I just found it very addictive. So it was very easy for me to just sit down on Friday evening and just keep knitting and knitting and knitting. So yeah, I got to the halfway point. This orange yarn is Sidar Snuggly DK yarn. Let me just find the information. Yeah, Sidar Snuggly DK. Not focusing. Okay, the camera's not focusing, but it's a DK weight yarn. It is nylon and acrylic, and I bought this to make a baby blanket because I wanted something that was going to be easy to machine wash, but I do have a lot of DK weight yarn left over from doing this particular baby blanket. So I picked this orange because I had quite a bit of that left, and I think I had about 1.5 balls left. You get a 50-gram ball, and I've used half of one and I started my other one. I don't think I'm going to finish this in the project, so we'll still have a bit left over. But yeah, the pattern, as I kind of anticipated, is very well written. I think this colour will be good for fall. It's a very fall colour. We'll see if I like it on me. If not, I may gift it. But yeah, very addictive project, so it's very easy for me to get to the halfway point. I think now either today or going into Monday I'll do the other half and then it'll be finished. But I'm sorry, I hope I haven't disappointed anyone by not finishing in total my little mini mission, but I just decided I wanted to make it work for me as best I could. So I started a project, I didn't finish it, but that's still 6 projects in 7 days, technically, with a little bit extra. Hopefully you let me off. So it was actually a bit more exhausting than I anticipated. I quite enjoyed having that little side quest of doing a different project each day. It brought me a wide range of patterns, which is always good to experience other people's patterns. Some designers I hadn't heard of before, some designers I have heard of before but never used their patterns. So it has been a fun experience to just try a bunch of different things rather than be stuck on one project like a garment, a sweater or a top that you spend a couple of weeks on before you move on to the next one, unless you have like multiple whips, which I sometimes do. So yeah, that is done. And to round up this whole experience, as I say, I enjoyed it. The purpose of it was to get through a little bit more yarn, have a bit of a like, what would you call it? Like a speed up of the process, a little bit of a fun challenge to get some little projects that I'd had in my mind done. And I have weighed my projects just to see how much of it I did manage to use this week. I ended up not including the scarf. I was going to try and pop half of the scarf on the scales, but I didn't feel it was going to be accurate enough, so I will weigh that at the end, and if I finished it before I put this video out, I will add the final results in. But weighing just my other projects alone, it came up as 197 grams of yarn used, just shy of 200. A modest amount, but still some. I did use quite a bit of small balls I had of leftover yarn. I used some full skeins of yarn. It has still given me more like even smaller leftover balls, but that's fine, we deal with that in other ways. But yeah, just to show you again all of the projects I had. So I started the week with the skinny headband by Turtle Trunk Crochet. It's a picot tiny dots headband with worsted weight cotton yarn. I then moved on to the Journey cowl, which is a knitted cowl designed by myself using Juniper Moon Farm Patagonia yarn. It's 100% wool, very soft little cowl that'll be great for the autumn, fall and winter. I then did the, what did I do? I did the Scrubbies, I think? No. I did the Bandana perhaps. I can't remember the order and it's only a few days ago. I did the Urla Bandana by Soda Secan, a knitted bandana, again using cotton yarn. As you can see, I still have to do all the weaving of the ends. I've got some washing of all these projects to do, but this is cute. I might actually wear this today. And then I did the table placemats, which as we know, I may redo because I ran out of yarn, and one I made with a bigger crochet hook than the other, so I might change that up at some point, but they are still usable as it stands if I am happy to accept one that's like not quite finished. And then I did the Scrubbies, which I'm really happy with. I think these are really cute. I'm kind of tempted just to use them as coasters, even though they have this puff stitch. I just think they're cute. I really like them. I like the fun colours. I think they look very neat. And these are a free pattern as well, and are super quick. I could have made 5 of these in the evening, but I decided to give myself a break. And then I'm ending it with the Dustland Skinny Scarf by Stephen West Knits. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you don't already so you don't miss any more episodes from me in the future. My next video is going to be a pattern roundup, looking at patterns for fall. I've had lots of fun researching patterns for this and getting some inspiration. Even though we're in August and I'm not quite ready to step into the pumpkin spice latte season yet, there is also something enticing about the idea of the cozy sweaters coming back, the socks, the indoor evenings, cozying up, doing knitting and crochet. So look forward to that one. That's going to be coming next week. And I'll see you again soon for another episode of Wander and Create with Emma.